Welcome, everyone. I'd like to call this evening's Common Council meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, September 12th, and the time is 7 p.m. We'll begin with item 1, the roll call. Joanne?
Mayor Kim Smith,
Here.
Sean McAllister,
Here.
Dan Stevens,
Present.
Stephen Knott,
Present.
Leanne Stokes.
Here.
Larry Jurassic,
Present.
Diane Wolf.
Here. Thank you. Item 2 is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 3, rules of the City of Onalaska Common Council and its subcommittees. This is a harassment-free forum. The City Council and subcommittee meetings shall be conducted in a courteous manner. Citizens, council, and committee members shall be allowed to state their positions in an atmosphere free of slander, obscene remarks, or threats of violence. Sufficient warnings may be given by the Sergeant at Arms or the chair at any time during the remarks, and in the event that any individual shall violate the rules of decorum as set forth, such person may then be cut off from comment or debate. Item 4 is our time for public input. If you would like to address the Common Council this evening, now is the time to do so. Please come up to the podium, begin by stating your name and your address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Would anyone like to address the Common Council this evening? Second call for anyone wishing to address the Common Council. Third and final call for anyone from the public who would like to address the Common Council this evening. Public input is now closed. We'll continue with item 5, which is a report from the mayor. Item A is the oath of office. Rick Niemeyer will take his oath to the position of city administrator. Turn it over to Joanne Marcon, our city clerk, to administer the oath.
I, Rick Niemeyer,
Having been appointed to
the office of city administrator
the office of city administrator
for the city of Onalaska,
for the city of Onalaska,
swear that I will support
swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully and impartially
and will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of said office
of said office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So,
Cool. Oh, we got it.
Congratulations, Rick, and welcome aboard. Another exciting moment for us here on item 5B, the oath of office. Welcoming Peter Floody to the position of fire chief, and our city clerk will administer his oath.
Great. Repeat after me. I, Peter Floody,
I, Peter Floody,
having been appointed to
having been appointed to
the office of fire chief
the office of fire chief
for the city of Onalaska,
for the city of Onalaska,
swear that I will support
swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully and impartially
and will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duty
of said office
of said office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Welcome to you as well, Chief. Okay, our next item of business, we will advance in the schedule to item number 12, the city attorney's report. Amanda Jackson.
Yeah, I would just like to invite UW Extension. We have Heather and Charlotte here, and they are going to give us a presentation about strategic planning.
Welcome.
Thank you, and thanks for switching up your agenda for us. That was a surprise tonight. My name's Heather Quackenboss with UW Extension. This is Charlotte Peters. We're going to just take you briefly through what strategic planning wise is important, offer the ability for you to answer or ask any questions. We will try to answer all of them. Before we actually start though, and because this is more like strategic planning, want to ask you first impression, first thought in your head when I say strategic planning. What comes up for you? And there's no wrong answer here. It's okay. I know this is recorded. It's all right.
Shaping.
Shaping, okay?
I think military is the first.
Okay. Wow.
Nothing wrong with that.
I watch too much TV. Sorry.
No problem, no problem. What else?
Setting the direction of the goals and taking into account the tools that we have available to meet those goals.
Okay, Anyone?
Long-range planning.
thank you.
Orderly progress.
I would say both short-term and long-term planning for me. I think it's used in both.
Yeah, all correct, right? And honestly, depends on how we want to do it, what we exactly want to do. This is much smaller than I thought it was going to look, so I will take you through this a little bit. Basically, the very, very easy ABCs of strategic planning. We're taking where you are right now. So basically, we're going to be looking at your current state. And what happens, what do you have to do, what's mandated, all of those things that you have in place right now. And all right, what is that? What we then do is we go along to, all right, ideally, wave that magic wand. What do we want to be? How do we want to look? What does our direction look like as a cohesive shared group? So this is where you get to imagine a little bit and you get to be a little bit dreamy. What happens after that is the bulk of the work. And that's where we're looking at that action plan and how to get there. So through that, we're looking at the values, the shared values of your council. We're looking at what is that plan? What is that mission and vision that everything can then lead to? So really looking at what can we do? How can we do that? And then I'll turn it over for Charlotte for the next couple.
Okay. So next we'll take a brief look at the building blocks. Do you have this printed? Because I can't read that. Okay, this is fine. Just the full one. Okay, so as you can see by the triangle, everything sort of builds upon itself. And this will happen for you in phases. So the first phase is the organizing and processing and analyzing your environment. And that includes readiness assessment, the plan, stakeholder assessment, mandate analysis, and then a SWOT analysis and environmental scan. Sorry. It's exactly like SWOT.
What is the
Only-
C? I know SWOT also, yeah.
The C is
Challenges.
Instead of threats. Okay, got it. All right.
We're trying to be nicer.
military.
Well, no, yeah, it's fairly standard. So, yeah. It's not just military.
Oops. And then your phase 2 will be identifying and analyzing strategic issues. Just slide this. Okay. And that includes things like your vision, mission, and values, goals and objectives, and strategic issues. Phase 3 then moves into developing strategies and action plans, which would include things like your budgets, the actual action plans, and strategies. And then finally, you'll have phase 4, which is your evaluation, monitoring, and implementation of the actual strategic plan. The important takeaways for this is the placement of the building blocks and their order will vary in each strategic planning situation. And some organizations may have some of these building blocks already in place and working, and they know them, so you don't really have to concentrate on those. So a strategic plan actually acts like an umbrella. And we know that you're working on your comprehensive plan also. So the difference between a strategic plan and a comprehensive plan is the strategic plan gives you a direction to go. And it's usually a 5-year or less document. Whereas your comprehensive plan would fall underneath that strategic plan. And that's a 20, 50, or even 100-year plan, depending on how you approach it. But also underneath the umbrella of your strategic plan would come into play all of these other There we go. Other items like your planning, zoning, land use, programming, sustainability plans, budgeting, policy, staffing, and human resources and governance.
Okay, so then we're looking at what are these benefits? Why should we do this? We're already doing a comprehensive plan. Isn't that good enough? What, it's only 5 years. So some benefits really are, it's helping you have a shared vision, a shared direction. Sometimes when you do comprehensive planning, everyone leaves the room just a little bit irritated. That's probably a good thing, because that means you compromised a little bit. You're giving something in, you're taking something away, you're working together, we're collaborating. And so it's really making a direction for the entire city of Onalaska, and to really look at, this is the direction we want to go. So it's giving you that compass, and whether you want to go north or south, that's completely up to the whole group. We're also looking at, it's really going to save your resources. We're looking at not just time and money, but we're looking at staff. When staff knows what's going on, when staff is empowered, they're going to stay. And we know that retention actually saves money rather than hiring new people all the time. So really looking at, okay, if we all know what's going on and we get everyone on that same page, we're actually going to save and allocate our resources really wisely. We also look at, everyone knows their lane, their role, and what they're doing. So when you're turning the gauges there, they're turning the correct direction. So everything's actually going to work together. And somebody's not over here saying, well, I don't like my lane, and here's what I want to do instead. It's where everyone actually knows, okay, here's my role, here's why it's important. Like when you're playing in an orchestra and you're at second violin, still a really important role, even though usually the second violinists aren't as talented as the first violinists, right? You still have that really important role. We also look at your metrics. What do you want to measure? A lot of times when we look at government agencies, nonprofits, businesses, it's, okay, how much did we do? How can we improve? How can we do more? How can we sell more? How can we do this? You get to decide those metrics and how you measure things and what you want to see. So at the end of this, you can look at, are we measuring what we need to measure? How are we doing that? And finally, we have the old rotary phone here. We need to also be flexible. Any strategic plan is never going to be set in stone, ever, because things are going to change. Imagine still having this phone now. Would it still even work? I actually don't know. I honestly don't know. But sometimes when we go back to analog, there's good components to it. We can still use our cell phones as our phones, right? And we've had to modify. I mean, most of us have that now. So then looking at, okay, what does that actually look like? How do we want to do this? What's this process? And first, I just thought this staircase ramp was amazing when I found it, and just wanted to give this to you as a visual, as you can go up all those stairs at once. And we could, if you say, yep, let's do a strategic plan, let's go. We could say, all right, let's do a retreat. We'll lock the doors. We'll bring in some pizzas. We'll figure this all out in a weekend, and we'll run up those stairs really quickly. So we could do something like a retreat and say, all right, we're going to take this amount of time. We're going to nail things out, and we're going to just really go big. Or we can go all the way down to saying, yeah, we're going to take the ramp and we're going to rest at each landing, and we're going to go a little slower. So we might say, let's take a year and let's meet once a month. And each time, every month, we will do a component of this plan and keep building on it. Now, that's always a sliding scale in there too, isn't it? And we can decide, well, do we want to take 6 months? Meet every other week? Do we want to, do 4 hours once a month? You get to decide that. And we can work that out if you say, yeah, this sounds pretty good. Let's do this. So now we're going to open it up to questions, because we did throw a lot at you, and some of you know strategic planning, and some of you have a love or hate relationship with it. So questions for us.
Does anyone have any questions? I guess we're ready to start.
Oh, absolutely.
So that means the next couple of slides are unneeded. Okay, so these were supposed to be really cool QR codes that you could point your phone at and everybody could vote, and we could see all of the votes at the same time. So, but it's not working. So we'll do a show of hands. And the first question is, are you willing to participate in the creation of a strategic plan for the city of Onalaska? So I will assume all of those are yeses. Okay. And then the second question is, what do you see as the optimal timeline? And there were supposed to be 3 different choices here. A 2-day, 8-hour retreat, 6 months,
2 meetings
Per
per
month.
month, 2 hours per meeting,
or 12 months, 1 meeting per month,
2 hours.
2 hours. So we'll go with
1, 2, or 3. We will go analog now.
What was number 2 again?
6 months.
So number one.
How long would the meeting be?
Probably a couple hours.
2 hours once a month,
Twice.
twice
Twice
a
a
month
month.
for 6 months,
For 6 months.
or once a month for a year. Okay,
Right.
makes sense.
Hold up our fingers. Follow
Well,
up.
we'll go with, I'm assuming just based on your expressions here, nobody wants to do the retreat or the 2 8-hour session, okay? So if you would like to do the 6-month option, show of hands. 2, 3, 4, that's 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yes. So, and then it would be, the other option would be the 12-month and show of hands, and that's 2, so. And that's it. So obviously, it looks like
You're done. All right, thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Before
for coming
you
in.
jump away, can we just talk about like the next steps really briefly? Like, do you want us to send out a doodle poll to all these lovely people? Or what is easiest for you to sort of coordinate this process moving forward?
It depends. I mean, if there's staff who's willing to take on, we're willing to schedule and do a little cat herding to figure out when folks are available for the next 6 months. That would be fantastic. And we could start potentially even this year, or we could look at January. It's really up to you and timelines and what would work for everyone. So.
Is there any preference from the council? Would you like this to be a strictly 2024 project and we could plan to start it in January? Or do you want to like, let's dive in?
I was thinking 2 different things, like we're gonna be in budget time, so it might be better to just wait till the first of the year, past the holidays. And then also, if we could line it up next to some other meeting that we have, I think that might be better. I mean, it would be better for me.
I agree with that. And as far as I agree to wait until January, because we have so many meetings that get racked and stacked up during the budget process. I think.
And then there'll be the holidays.
Yeah.
Is it important that you have the same people from beginning to end through this process?
Yeah. Well.
Because elections do fall in April.
In April, yeah.
And if I, Mayor.
Yes, go ahead, Steve.
I guess I have a request too. If at least 30 days out from whenever we first meet, I assume you would be sending out some reading material on more in depth on the process that you'll be guiding us through. And some folks are going to do an eye roll for me to do this before, but I'm hoping we will get a glossary, because we all have to have common language of, what is strategic partner, or what's a customer, all the basic terminologies, there's probably 36 at least that are part of the strategic plan. And so that we all can dump our perceptions of what I believe a customer is, because we all have to say, no, this is what we believe a customer is, just as one example. Because I've seen in the strategic planning where if folks don't come in with common language, you just waste time. So.
Is it just the elected people that you're thinking of having on this, or would it be a combination of elected people and staff?
We could have both. I mean, truly, we've done both. We've seen both, and it's up to you. Sometimes having staff there and involved in the process is really good, because you have that expertise and you have folks coming in from those different departments. You can say, yeah, here's how it really works, because sometimes we don't know.
No.
We think we know everything, and I don't know, if you're a parent, you find out every day that there's something you don't know. So it's nice to have staff there. And at the same time, if you said, you know what, we just want to do this with the elected officials, you certainly could.
Well, that depends a lot on the agenda that you're gonna be putting together, so whether or not.
And in all honesty, it would, a lot of it would be coming together that first meeting and really looking at, okay, what are our common terms? What do we need to know? What do we need to get out on the table? It will be a very transparent process. And it's condensed. It'll be quick. It'll be a lot of thinking where you will wake up in the middle of the night and say, I wish I would have said this. And we will also have different ways where you can say, okay, I thought of this at 3 a.m. I should have said this then, and we can add that the next time. So it's a lot of what this is and how it runs is up to you.
Okay, well, thank you. We'll talk about it and definitely plan on doing this after the first of the year.
Right. We'll see after the holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you. And did you need anything else, Amanda, on this topic? Okay. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, recommendation for approval under possible action from the following committees, commissions, boards, or officials. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member requests removal, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in the order of business in the non-consent agenda. Are there any items the councilors would like removed from the consent agenda? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to approve that.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Alder Diane Wolf. It's been seconded by Alder Leanne Stokes. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 7 is a recap of items pulled from the consent agenda. There were none. So we'll continue on to item 8, the Finance Committee, and I will turn it over to Alder Leanne Stokes.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item is the vouchers. The following is a list of monies expended since the last Common Council meeting dated August 8th, 2023. And the amount is $6,994,122.15. Sabrina did let me know that the reason for the higher amount is because it contains funds because we're doing a bond payment due on October 1st. Did you have anything to add?
No, thank you.
I take a motion to approve and place on file.
So moved.
We have a motion on the floor by Leanne Stokes. It's been seconded by Alder.
Sorry.
Did I say it wrong?
I said so moved. I'm sorry.
Oh, I just counted it as a second. Okay, we're giving Leanne Stokes the motion. Stephen not seconded, even though he wanted to make it. And that is to approve the vouchers as described by Alder Stokes. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Leanne?
Item 8B is the 2023 general fund financials. Sabrina, would you like to?
Thank
bring
you.
this forward?
So in your packets tonight, starting on page 4 are the financials for the general fund. Pages 4 through 6 is the balance sheet for the general fund through the month of July of 2023. Then starting on page 7 is the budget report or our revenues and expenses through the month of July. If I can draw your attention to page 9, our total revenue total year to date. So our revenues remaining to still to hit our budget by the end of the year. We have 8.44% remaining. I can tell you as of July 31st of 2022, we had 10.26 remaining. So we are actually trending ahead for revenues. We still have the second half payment of fire protection with the town of Onalaska, which we'll receive in the fourth quarter. We will also have some state payments that will come in the third quarter as well. So I highly anticipate that we will go over our budgeted revenues that we expected. Secondly, if you take a look at page 21, this tells us our budgeted expenditures percentage remaining through July of 2023. We do have 44.49% remaining for expenses. I can tell you as of July 31st of 2022, we were at 44.43. So we are trending right on track with 2022. So no concerns with the general fund.
Thank you for that, Sabrina. Would you like to make a motion, Leanne?
A motion to accept and place on file.
Second.
We have a motion by Leanne. It's been seconded by Stephen Knott to accept the 2023 general fund financials and place on file. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Item 8C, the Omni Fund financials. Sabrina?
Thank you. So next in your packet, starting on page 23 is the Omni Center financials through July 31st of 2023. On page 23 through page 25 is the balance sheet for the Omni Center. Then starting on page 26 is our budget report for the Omni Center. And if we take a look at the bottom of page 26, we can see that we have 25.38% remaining for revenues for the Omni Center. As of July 31st of 2022, we were at 24.48. So pretty comparable to 2022. If we take a look at expenses on page 28, we can see our total budgeted expenditures remaining for 2023. We're at 30.79. As of July 31st of 2022, we were at 37.92. So we're have slightly less left in our budget for what we expected for expenditures. What I can tell you for that is in regards to expenses, we kind of finished the branding for the Omni Center, and those expenses truly were expenses in 2023. That's when they happened, but we set up a reserve for that in 2022. So we'll be able to probably at year end, I'll do a journal entry that'll get approved by the council to move that reserve money to the general fund reserves, and not general fund, but the Omni Center regular reserves instead of the restricted where it's currently sitting. Secondly, revenues, I think they'll likely catch up. The liquor revenue will likely be much higher than it was last year. It was around 40,000. I can already tell you it's already around 50,000. So I feel pretty confident in where we're sitting with the Omni as well.
Thank you.
Motion to accept and place on file.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Leanne Stokes. It's been seconded by Sean McAllister to approve the 2023 Omni Center financials and place them on file. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
And the final item is 8D, School Resource Officer Agreement with Onalaska School District for the 2023-2024 school year. Amanda?
Yeah, this is a yearly contract that we sign with the school district for reimbursement of the school resource officer. There weren't a lot of changes this year. We clarified a little bit of language under section 5. There are certain events after hours that we agree to provide the SRO for, if available. It's the home football games, graduation, prom, homecoming. And so one of the things we cleaned up is in the event that our SRO, Tyler Blair, is unavailable, then their preference would be the DARE officer. But if both of those individuals are unavailable, then we could substitute another officer. So we are not committing any one person to have to maintain all of those. We did remove some language in section 9 related to billing the district for monthly cell phone charges. We have never done that historically. And so we just took that language out. We do provide cell phones generally for most of our officers per shift. And so that's an expense that we will just bear on ourselves. Additionally, we did clean up the language in Section 16 related to reimbursement. Historically, they were paying what was said to be 50% of the position. It was really 50% of the position across 178 days, which is the amount of days in school. And so we did clean this language up a little bit to spell out those 178 days. Additionally, the district will be paying for a portion of 17 additional non-school hours so that Tyler could attend relevant training that the district would like him to attend related to school services, program services, and things like that. We did slightly bump up the district's contribution this year. So rather than it being a 50-50 split, it is a 47-53 split, with the city covering 47% of the salary during that period and the district covering 53%, which is a net gain of not quite $4,000 to the city.
Okay, thank you for that, Amanda. Would someone like to put a motion on the floor? And then we could have discussion.
I'll move to approve the school resource officer agreement with Onalaska School District for the 2023-2024 school year as presented in our agenda.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Stephen Knott. It's been seconded by Larry Jurassic to approve the SRO agreement for 2023-2024. Is there any discussion? Not seeing or hearing anyone, the motion on the floor is to approve this contract, and the voting will be by roll call.
Stephen Knott,
Aye.
Leanne Stokes,
Aye.
Larry Jurassic,
Aye.
Diane Wolf,
Aye.
Dan Stevens,
Aye.
Sean McAllister.
I'll abstain.
Thank you. That motion passes with 5 in favor and 1 abstention. Item 9, Personnel Committee. Turn it back to you, Leanne.
Yes, item A for information only, recruitment update. Amy?
Surprise.
Good evening. I wasn't prepared that I was going to speak. I don't have anything further other than the memo that's provided. We've got the current recruitment that's currently underway and a couple of other positions that have since been added. So been busy with the recruitment, but again, everything's been progressing. As you can see, for the month of August, we've had the fire chief fill on August 28th with Chief Letty, and other recruitments progressing with no issues.
You have to be ready to speak at any time.
Does anybody have any questions regarding recruitment?
Thank you for that update.
And item 9B, temporary increase in hours for fire administrative assistant position. Chief.
Turn it over to Chief Letty.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to apologize for the tardiness of this memo. Got a little behind there. What I'm asking for is that with the resignation of Assistant Chief Noren and me being so new, that we continue on with the administrative fire department for an additional 4 hours per week, up to 29 hours, in order to help out with some of the administrative functions at the fire department. With that, I'd ask for your approval.
Thank you. Stephen?
Well, to get discussion going, I'll make a motion to recommend approval.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Stephen Knott. It's been seconded by Leanne Stokes to approve the increase in hours as described. And then under discussion, Stephen Knott.
2 quick questions. I think I know the answer to the first one already, but I'm assuming this is going to be paid for out of the salary savings from our assistant fire chief moving on to another position. Is that how we're saving for this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I do have a question that's probably in Amy's lane. Moving from 25 to 29 hours per week, does that incur any additional expenses for benefits?
It does not.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, are there any other questions? Alder Wolf?
Thank you, Your Honor. I just want to make sure I'm clear on what the motion was in the second. I know in the memo, it talks about 4 additional hours, so I just want to confirm that was what the motion was. I know what the recommendation was. So I just want to confirm that's what the motion was, to 4 additional hours per week until the assistant chief position is filled. Is
It
that
was
correct?
Stephen Knott's motion, so.
Yes, that would be until assistant chiefs. That's how I read this too. It's because they have the loss of the assistant that, so we get a new assistant. It does say temporary in the reference here, so I'm assuming that's when it ends.
Yes, that was the
okay.
intent.
That was my intent of my motion.
Thank you. I think our attorney has a comment.
I just want to clarify because it gets a little sticky on the timeline. And so, sometimes we have employees start midweek, sometimes they, start on a payroll week, sometimes they don't. And so we've already ran into this with this position already. So if the intent is the day the assistant chief starts, this position goes back down to 20. Do you want to go through the pay period? Like if we could get just a little bit more clarity, it's very helpful on our end.
I could recommend going through the pay period because the new chief coming in will still have a bit of a learning curve anyway. I mean, whoever he or she is will certainly have a lot of experience, but we are a different department. All departments are slightly different. So, I mean, that's my recommendation is just finish the pay period. Yeah.
Okay, so your clarification is that the administrative assistant position will continue at 29 hours per week to the end of the pay period in which the new assistant chief starts.
Sure. Yes, the answer is yes.
Does that match what everyone thinks?
Yeah.
Okay,
If I
Alder
may
Wolf?
continue, thank you. So my only concern though would be with the current motion is I'm hopeful that the appointment to the new assistant chief will not lag for any period of time. My only concern is that the way the motion reads right now, it could go into the new year. And I don't know what the budget is that's forthcoming before us. So I would just hate for you to start in the hole come the 2024 budget. Would be my only concern.
But if the position wasn't filled, that would still be fully funded, but unfilled.
Yeah, it'd be a net gain for the city, actually. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't want that to go.
Oh,
along,
okay.
but
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because they still have to budget for 2024 for having an assistant chief.
I'm assuming the assistant chief would be making more than the.
Right. Okay.
System.
Okay, so are we okay with how the motion is with just the clarification, or do we need to have like an amendment or something, Amanda?
I'll make an amendment just to make it clean. I'll amend it so that the temporary period ends at the end of the pay period, at the end of the current pay period that the assistant chief arrives on.
Okay. So then we'll have to vote on the amendment.
We need a second also.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have the amendment clarifying things made by Stephen Knott, seconded by Leanne Stokes. All those in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Okay, the amendment passes. Is there any other discussion before we go to the full motion? We're all good. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see. Thank you, Leanne. You're done. Item 10, Administrative Committee. Larry Jurassic.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yeah, we had a couple of questions on it. Basically on the fees, especially with the fire department.
Larry, would you mind introducing the agenda item first?
Page 39.
And
We
this
need
would
to
be-
get a motion on the table to discuss it.
So this would be.
So
Oh, okay. Okay.
say, yeah, so item 10A is the 2024 fee schedule. So if we could have a motion to approve the fee schedule, we could have it on the floor for discussion. And if there are any changes, we could deal with those as an amendment afterwards. So if you would make a motion to
I
approve.
make a motion to approve the 2024 fee schedule.
I'll second.
And then I'll
Go ahead.
end my time.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Alder Jurassic. It's been seconded by Alder Stevens. Under discussion, we'll go back to Alder Stevens.
Thank you, Your Honor. I believe we wanted this on the non-consent agenda as there were some more substantive changes than normal. And we wanted the rest of council to have a chance to weigh in, specifically for example, like the fire department fees were kind of low and we were bringing them up to market rate. It appears it's kind of a large increase, but compared to other municipalities, it's a little bit more in line. There are some areas where I think parks were not listed on the fee schedule and now they are. So I think they still had a fee, but they weren't listed there. So that's what a lot of the changes were. And I also learned that they were color coded because Amanda did a different color for every department. So I don't know that there's anything that's particular if anybody wants to point out, but that's really the only reason it was here, is to point those things out and to give other alders a chance to weigh in.
Okay, and I did have some feedback from a citizen actually today about the golf cart registration, which is under the Title 10 Motor Vehicle and Traffic Control. Maybe I'll direct this question to Amanda. They were questioning why the golf cart registration would be higher than a vehicle registration through the state. They felt the $100 fee was really high. And I did not, I remember this happening, but I don't remember the justification behind the fee. Do you, or is there a reason?
We do inspect their golf cart, and so there is like staff time involved. And so it was sort of just to recoup the amount of staff time to do the inspection and the paperwork. I mean, if that's something the council wants to address, then you can change that if you would like. But I think it was just the amount of staff time needed to do an actual inspection of their golf cart.
Okay, let's see. Let's start over here. Alder Stokes?
Thank you. I actually was on a ride along when Officer Elias was actually doing these golf cart inspections, and it does take time. He has to go through a lot of different questions that needed to be answered. He has to check for, the paperwork and if it was sold, if somebody else bought it. And so I agree that I think that the staff time that is done, and he was, that day that I was with him in 2 hours, I think he did probably 12 different people that, had set up an appointment, and then he went and did it. So I agree that I think we should, have it as is listed on the fee schedule.
Alder Jurassic?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, the biggest question we had was page 29 or 39, where the fees go from $50 to $190.
Are we not talking about the golf carts anymore, or are we?
Well, I have one question on the golf cart. Is that an annual fee? Registration or? is it
Every year.
Every year.
So it's more than a car registration, and
And they
that
have to
was
get it inspected every year.
which you can do 12 inspections in 2 hours.
So
If they want to drive their golf cart on a city street.
On the street only. Okay, got it. All right.
Okay, I don't know where we're at. We're here. Alder Stevens.
before I don't want to cut Larry off, but on the golf cart issue, is it really that much of an issue? I mean, are we creating more work for ourselves? How much danger is it if somebody rides a golf cart on the street versus say like a motorized scooter or something like that? Is that something that is it in the public safety or interest that we need to police this?
Okay, I'll let Amanda, our city attorney, answer about motorized scooters,
Yeah.
et
we
cetera.
Would prefer you not to drive your motorized scooter down the street. But we do make sure that they have working blinkers. I mean, to take it, you can get an OWI in a golf cart. I mean, there are rules of the road that you do have to follow in a golf cart. There are special rules related to what streets golf carts can and cannot go on. They can't cross certain highways. They're not allowed on certain roads. And so we do provide a map and education as part of that. I mean, we could perhaps look at doing something where we have a lower renewal. We do that with a lot of things. So maybe it's $100 for the first one, and then we could consider having a lower renewal. That might be an option.
Alder Not?
Yeah, I kind of like that option, but I do understand why, if it's for road use only, golf carts, anything using the public roads are going to have to be street legal. That's anything, a lawnmower has to be street legal. That's why you see tractors riding down the roads with the, yellow or the orange triangles and everything else. That's all required to be street legal. Chief, am I going off course on here? Is that correct?
Maybe, Chief, why don't you come up and give us some
Yeah.
input if you want? Stephen, were you done, or we'll just hear from Chief?
Yeah, I'm done. I would like to discuss, though, maybe doing and then I'd like to hear what Chief thinks about that, about having a different rate for subsequents and $100 for a first. I think that'd be different. Yeah, or fair, whatever.
I would agree. I think there is some value to maybe having it reduced for someone that's an annual renewant because likely it's still going to be in compliance, but I think there is value to ensuring it's still in compliance, but it may not be as lengthy of an inspection as the first time through. So maybe a slightly reduced on subsequent years. I think the initial fee is valid.
Okay, Alder Wolf?
Thank you, Your Honor. I think I was on, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you were on with me, but I remember when this came through years ago. And when this was, I wouldn't say it was contentious, but there was a lot of discussion about it. I think at the end of the day, I look at driving on our roads, whether it's a vehicle or a golf cart, it's a privilege. And I think people pay for that privilege. And I certainly support charging some type of fee because the city is providing a service that the average person is not driving a golf cart on our city streets. If I am reading this chart correctly, we are not increasing it. We're maintaining the $100 fee. I would be certainly amenable to the discussion of the possibility of either of a subsequent reduced fee, because I know we've done that with other items. So it's not unheard of. And, a couple years down the road, if it doesn't work, or if we see that they're putting in just as much work or there's causing problems, we can certainly revisit again. But I would be certainly open to a subsequent lesser fee. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Any other comments or questions?
Your Honor, our
Yes.
ordinances do say that prior to the initial registration, the owner of a golf cart must have the cart inspected by the police department. So it is possible that Officer Elias is still doing additional inspections, but our ordinances only are requiring it for the initial application.
The $100. So once
The
they,
inspection,
okay, so we're
inspection's
charging
required of the initial
$100 a
application.
year, but we're only inspecting it the first time.
it's only required the first time.
Okay.
Okay, so
Well,
there's more.
subsequent
info-
years
See,
is
we're
just
learning.
registration then.
Right, correct.
So they just do a renewal. They pay $100 and get a renewal, but we don't have that cost of, okay, the person's time.
I'll make a motion to amend the proposed fee schedule for item 10.05.21.a to state that initial golf cart registration fee is $100. And I don't know if that would become a 21.b, or however it's going to be, I guess, annotated, but that subsequent fees, I mean, it's just paperwork at that point. What,
Correct. They get a sticker that they have to put on their golf cart.
$50? I mean, I don't know how much does it cost the staff to process paperwork?
That seems reasonable.
Okay, that subsequent registrations would be $50.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor for an amendment to the golf cart registration, that the first year would be $100 and then each subsequent year would be $50. Under discussion, Alder Wolf?
Thank you again, Your Honor. Joanne, I know in past years, we've had the situation where we looked to the clerk's office to talk about the initial charge and then the subsequent, because it has to do with the charge to process any type of paperwork. So I think some years ago, we've talked about what is that charge? And I think it's been adjusted through time. Do you know what I'm referring to?
I don't have like a specific number that we apply for any type of
can't
administrative
Are you
fee.
talking about the administrative fee?
Yes, more like an administrative fee. It was kind of like a flat fee, and I can't remember.
Yep.
It might have at one time been 25, but I think over time has it been?
On to 50. I know for our
That's
weights and
it.
measures licenses, we charge an administrative fee and that's $50
Which one?
for weights and measures licenses.
Okay.
That's charged out to businesses with like electronic scanning devices or scales.
Yeah.
So their fee starts with a $50 administrative fee and then it's broken down per device.
It's actually $80. It's under 301.18 administrative fee under finance, and it's an $80 fee.
And the reason why I bring it up is that I think a lot of times people can see a single sheet of paper and they think, oh, that just takes a couple minutes to do. But when you start looking, then delving into the back end of it and look at all the checks that, if department heads have to go through it, whoever's touching that and all the times it's touched, and you start adding that up over and over and over. And at the end of the day, like I say, it's a privilege to drive one of those on the streets. And I don't think that every taxpayer should be paying for that luxury for other people to be doing that. So that's why I would support probably the $50 fee. Thank you. Thank you, Rand.
Okay, Alder Knott?
Yeah, and just briefly, and to Alder Wolf's point, there are other things. Obviously, there's a sticker that's going to have a serial number that's going to have to be associated directly with that cart. That's going to have to be added onto the paper and everything else too. And the stickers themselves have to be printed. So, it
isn't one step.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Okay, Alder Stevens.
Thank you, Your Honor. No, I like the amendment in general, but I want to think about maybe as a devil's advocate. If somebody if they can renew the registration year after year after year, at some point, like a vehicle, a golf cart is going to depreciate and may start to have mechanical problems. And if we're going to regulate, like if their blinkers are working or if the lights, what mechanism will we have in place to make sure that they stay street legal? So if somebody renews their registration, say, 15 years in a row, and the lights don't work, we're not really going to know. Will the police have the ability to pull over the golf cart and then cite them with the same type of ordinance that they would a regular street legal automobile, or would they be exempt because that's not a vehicle? Do we need to have extra legal language to address that?
Well, this motion isn't changing their process. Their process would remain the same. So how do you do it now when someone renews this? Do you know, Joanne? Like if someone already had they had and this is like the 5th year now and they send your $100, it's not it's just changing the amount they're sending in. It's not changing the action of the police department.
Correct. And to Alder Stevens' question, I would assume if somebody's driving without brake lights or without blinkers, it would be the same type of complaint basis as any other vehicle driving down the road, that an officer could see it or somebody would call it in.
So police could cite for whatever infraction. And
That is my
that's within the.
Yeah, so one of our equipment requirements is that any person operating a golf cart on a public street under this registration does have to conform to all federal, state, and local laws and regulations regarding noise, emissions, equipment, maintain and proper adjustment and repair, and following all traffic laws. So.
Okay, yeah, it's as an extreme example on that. If you have a person riding a bike on a public road, riding a lawnmower that's street legal on a public road, riding a golf cart who is also under the influence, they're going to get the same citation for drunk driving that somebody would if they were in a car. A lot of people don't know that. So yeah, if you're on a public street, you have to follow the public street laws.
Okay, let's stick to this amendment. Larry?
Leanne, when the officer did those inspections, did he issue any tickets at all or? Okay.
Not when I was with him.
All right.
Okay,
Larry,
Alder.
the answer to your question, he wouldn't approve the application at that point.
Oh, okay.
Alder Wolf?
Thank you again, Your Honor. So I'm just gonna just throw this out there, just to throw it out there. I know when we originally started with the fire pit burning permits, it was a yearly permit. And then it went to 2 years. Is there, and I hear what Alder Stevens is talking about aging out. Just throwing it out there as just a possible discussion item. Do we do initial 1 year at that price or do we do like a 2-year permit? So we're not touching them every 2 every 2 years. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
'Cause
well-
at least that way they'd be looked at every 2 years.
I think we're not talking about changing their action. We're just talking about changing the fee. Amanda?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think we should keep it to the fee tonight, but that we can perhaps look at, I mean, I think, our ordinance says one thing, sometimes we don't follow our ordinances exactly. And so I think really talking to Officer Elias, getting, exactly what his process is, how often he's inspecting, maybe how many golf cart registrations we have on average in a year. And we can look at that data and then maybe bring it back at a future meeting.
Okay, so for now, we do have an amendment on the floor to change that to the 100 initial and the 50 on subsequent years. Is there any more discussion on that amendment? Okay, all those in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Okay, the amendment passes. Now I think Larry had a new topic about
Yeah,
the fees.
page 39. Under the fire sprinkler system, yeah. Can you address that, chief? Why it's jumped that drastic?
Is it on now? Hear me now? Okay. The reason being is that the first week I actually met with the building inspection department and the planning department. And I asked where that $50 fee came from, and it seemed to be an arbitrary number that was just kind of thrown out there years ago, and it hadn't changed in a number of years. The reason we jumped these fees up a little bit is due to the fact that one, it falls more in line with the fee structure of the building inspection department as well as the planning department. And then also lastly, it more accurately reflects the amount of time investment into these different types of systems. For instance, I have some experience inspecting these. By the time you get done permitting them, looking over plans and reviewing them, and then actually getting out and doing the physical inspections, you can have 2 to 3 hours invested in these different projects. So that was how we came to that increase in the fee schedule.
So these inspections are gonna be annually?
They come up as new buildings come up. So for instance, a hood inspection, you'll see in there jumped, I think, up to $190 from $50. So again, that would be a one-time fee for the installation of that system.
Okay, so it's not an annual fee that they're paying this.
No, sir.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, any other comments or discussion on the fee schedule? Okay, the motion on the floor then is to approve the fee schedule with the one change with the amendment that we passed. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Back to you, Larry.
Special event, permit application for Spooktacular, okay, Kids Day on October 14th, 2023 from 11 to 2 p.m. at Clearwater Farms. I understand this was a late entry, so that's why we're having it now. To have a motion to accept the special event permit.
Make a motion to approve the special event permit for Spooktacular Kids Day on October 14th.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Dan Stevens. It's been seconded by Stephen Knott to approve the special event permit at Clearwater Farm. Is there any discussion? Alder Stevens?
This isn't a new event, is it? I thought that they've had Spooktacular before.
It's not a new event. Last year, they didn't have 300, it becomes before the common council if they have more than 300 anticipated people attending the event. Last year, they did not anticipate that many. This year, because it reached that threshold, it has to come before the council. And I didn't receive the application until the day of A&J meeting, and that's why it missed being on that agenda.
Nope, we'd like this to go through.
Okay, motion is to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Item 11, Board of Public Works, Alder Knott.
This is item 11 alpha, which is the 2023 Fire Bay Floor Repair Project bid. This project was approved on the capital improvements project for the 2023 budget. We were handed out just this evening the single bid from Dynamic Concrete Resurfacing LLC for the amount of $78,477.71. And before I make a motion to approve, was there anything I should be adding, Jared?
No, this project had $85,000 budgeted. We will be direct purchasing some plastic grates once the project is done. So we will expend the full amount budgeted, but we do have the funds to cover this work by Dynamic Concrete.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the bid from Dynamic Concrete Resurfacing LLC in the amount of $78,477.71 for the Fire Bay Floor Repair Project.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Stephen Knott. It's been seconded by Diane Wolf to approve this floor repair bid. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 12 has already been covered. Item 13, Alderperson Wolf, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Item A, street sweeper right along. I just wanted to thank Public Works and Dan Meyer for affording me the time. It was early last month, to do a street sweeper right along. Jared had asked me if I wanted to wait until after the chip sealing was done, and I said yes. I think it was more educational, as to the process. Doing the ride along certainly gives me perspective to do my job more informed. So thank you again to everyone. Item B, recognition of Amanda Jackson. I would just like to take a few moments to thank Amanda Jackson for stepping up the past 15 months and leading the city in a role as interim city administrator. Amanda, you introduced us to new ideas and made many positive changes that I heard a lot of positive feedback in this past year plus. I personally recognize performing a dual role for that length of time was not easy. I believe the city is in a much better position due to your leadership, and thank you again. And item C, welcome to the new city administrator, Rick Niemeyer. I'd just like to formally welcome Rick to the city of Onalaska. He and I have exchanged a few texts and phone calls the last month and such. This is just the second day today, so no one scare him off, please. I know I can speak for council this evening when I say that we are all looking forward to working with you and look forward to your leadership. I hope this begins a long tenure with you for the city of Onalaska, so a very heartfelt welcome. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Item 14, adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Who second? Anyone? Okay, motion on the floor.
Somewhere.
Motion on the floor by Stephen Knott. It's been seconded by Sean McAllister to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Time is 8:01.